Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
And welcome to today's Trusted Advisors panel, Embracing People Differences Through Empowerment. Stepping into the facts. And Ashley, I'm going to pull you on deck here for a second, because talking about some of those facts and talking about someone that is confident. I think you're far from being one of the more confident people in the room today. Am I wrong?
Oh, boy.
Oh, come on. Stop. No, you knock it out of the park every time. You really do. And there's one thing about you that precedes you, and it's the pronouns that we see next to your name. You will put she, her, hers next to your name.
Well,
some people will judge based on that, though, at the same time, instead of embracing that difference, right?
Yeah. Well, and honestly, if you're listening in your car on the podcast, you're not watching the video, you don't know necessarily. You're unconsciously processing, listening to my voice, and that might evoke one gender or another. But I use she, her pronouns, and while anyone can share pronouns in this world, pronouns is not an LGBTQ plus thing, and it's not a transgender thing, because I have really good friends that work in an HR field that are named Kelly and Kim, and Kelly and Kim are two of the best male colleagues that I've ever had when I worked in the banking industry. And then I also have really good friends, Riley and Sam, and Riley and Sam are two of the best salespeople in the banking industry that I ever worked with, and all four of those people got misgendered all the time. But me, as an out open transgender woman who shares her pronouns every day, it just seems like one of the good things that I try to do. But then at the end of the day, right, it sometimes actually outs me even more. So it's like a double-edged sword because of that unconscious bias we were just talking about. Once you see that, then you immediately think, oh, well, what are they trying to put onto us? But really, pronouns are about productivity for human resources.
What do you mean?
That we can
what do you mean? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we can lower an email back and forth where someone that gets misgendered, like my four examples of Kelly, Kim, Riley, and Sam. But what about if you have an operation in another country and you don't understand any of the name gender pronouns, the way that which somebody's name would be, and you just only operate in America, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't know what any of these names would be. How do you start that email? How do you communicate that on an HR form? How do you, right? So all of these things lead back to a potential bias that you hate when you hear someone or when you see someone's name. You're making 2 million decisions every single second. You cannot physically process all 2 million of those decisions, and that's where biases creep in.
It's a big world. It's a big country. And I can't lie, I love talking to people from your region of the United States, that being the Southeast region, but many of you deal with clients all over the country and all over the world. And I do have to say, I see very big differences sometimes between where I mainly operate in the Northeast of the United States and where you are in the Southeast of the United States. What may be an issue in your area might still be something that's kind of commonplace up here, in the sense that it might be more accepted in ways. So when we think about regions, when we think about being accepting of the difference in people working with someone in a different country or in a different part of the United States, do you find that's a heavy impact in your field?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of us, since the beginning of COVID, and this is, I should say, since many, many years ago, but it's really, really hit home since COVID, because so many people went to work from home. Even though that was a trend before, it definitely became mainstream, and that's it. People were working from home, and even though many executives aren't going to be happy to hear this, many of them are not coming back. They're only working from home from now on, and that's it. I don't know about you guys. I think we're all here probably, with our nice shirts on, and I've got flip-flops on.
Shorts and sneakers.
Yep. Now, for those that are listening today, the three of us are in Florida, so we normally wear flip-flops anywhere anyway. And then JC's in New York, but it is summer-ish up there. It's almost summer.
Yeah, I still have my winter galoshes on. It's okay though. Please continue.
Anyway.
See, there's a bias already. Let's embrace my difference.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, since a lot of people work from home, even if it was temporarily, but even before that, you rarely even just hired people that were from your city. You have an ad out, and this has been going on for decades, or definitely the past probably 6-7 years, because the shortage of staff, the shortage of human beings in the United States that are eligible to work at our job. And that's, again, a whole other podcast too. We've had to bring people in from other states, other cities, other states, other parts of the world. And we've had to accept those differences. And if we didn't, those employers that didn't accept those differences, whether it be religion and religious garb, and that's, may not be normal to your zip code, but now has to become normal to your office, regardless of what your city thinks. Yeah, we have to quickly figure out how to adjust, because those individuals that may not look like us, sound like us, are educated like us, brought up like us, are the ones that we need to help change our organization. And let's face it, if we keep hiring people or just working with people in our personal life and professional life that are just like us, we're not going to grow. End of story.
So should anyone in the room desire to continue with the region thing, you're certainly more than welcome. But you brought a fantastic piece to mind. I want to put it out there real quick. You're talking about sameness. You talk about operating from a place of fear, clinging to what's familiar, staying where you are because it's comfortable. And then lives are designed based on those trends of acceptance, let it be within the workplace or within the social circles in which you reside. And those social circles might also then trickle into the regions in which you reside, et cetera. So sameness in the workplace and region, is there a connection between sameness and region? And or as leaders, do we need to maybe take a look at sameness and think about things from more of a global perspective? Work with me here. What are you thinking, Leslie?
So sameness is where we tend to have our comfort. We're comfortable. We're comfortable with people that are like us. And I don't necessarily mean skin color. I don't necessarily mean religion, but who have similar values, that tends to be where our comfort comes. So I can't say I'm a Orlando girl, so I don't know much about living in a lot of other places. But that said, I don't feel like regions have that much play in this perspective. In my opinion. Now, there can be some like affinity biases, like I went to University of Florida, so go Gators. I got to hire somebody from University of Florida, right? Or whatever that kind of affinity. There could be those types of biases. But I think we have to really make sure that we are thinking about the best choice for our organization, our team, versus what feels comfortable for us, because the only way an organization grows, the only way a human grows, is when we get out of that comfort, or as Brundage says, that choosing courage over comfort, stepping into maybe something unknown or that feels different to us. But that truly becomes the opportunity, because we don't grow in sameness. Yeah. My opinion.
Excellent opinion, by the way. I'm digging where we're going. Ashley, what do you think?
Ashley's got something.
I have something here as well. I think that the comfort zone is definitely, it's a very interesting place. And I think it actually centers back to, I center it to step one in the empowerment process. So I created a 4-step process of empowerment that anyone can do. And Leslie actually touched on this earlier, which is self. So we're back to self, and you will be the judge of what you can do and what you can't do. But if you don't do a holistic assessment for yourself in relation to your comfort zone, so access the show notes and you'll find the link to my empowerment self-assessment that's going to help you in this journey as a leader. You're going to say, okay, well, wait a minute, what is part of my comfort zone in relation to all of these topics, and how does that actually impact me and drive revenue for an organization? Because at the end of the day, someone's signing that check and it's coming from an organization, and if you're not making decisions that drive impact for revenue, then why are we here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really is. I think that the way to get leaders, business leaders, and we won't use titles because anybody can be a leader, but let's just say, the ones that can write the checks, right? And who can make the decisions. The way that we get them to get on board with this whole embracing differences and to empower people is to affect the bottom line. And if we can connect it to that bank account, which we can, sometimes it takes time, but there's so many experts out there like the ones we have on here today, and there's so much statistics out there that we need to get them to understand that if you empower your people and you empower everyone to be their self at work within reasons, within guidelines, and within the company values, and hire the right people and then train them to work into the company culture, and then of course actually hire and or train managers, then ta-da, all the goals of the organization are magically going to work. Is it going to happen overnight? Heck no, absolutely not. I think all three of us here, myself, Ashley, Leslie, that's what we do for a living. We're different, but we're all working towards the same goal, which is to help employers have awesome organizations, to help employees have awesome jobs, and to just have our community little by little be better wherever that community might be. We have a long way to go, though. We have so much distrust in the workforce, and that's one of my personal goals moving forward, is to making sure that managers, leaders understand that your employees have to trust you, and if they trust you, they'll do anything for you, and vice versa, and then it becomes a win-win.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.